Hello and welcome to the channel, your YouTube behind the scenes look inside a family auction house. In this episode we're going to look at a few more lots from the forthcoming antique and interior sale. Now, one question that gets asked all the time is, what sells well at auction? Now, the obvious answer is Asian art. So I thought we'd look at these three Chinese porcelain vases that were all consigned together. And we start with lot 39, which is this Chinese pear-shaped vase done in this rather attractive blue glaze. Now, when you look underneath, you can see how thick the glaze is as it's pulled when it's been fired in the kiln. Now, the glaze is not in superb condition. You can see it's quite worn, and it's also got these little burst bubbles. So again, academically speaking, it shows you all about the construction of the vase. Now, we've got a 6-carat Qianlong rain mark, which is purporting to be from the 18th century. But this vase is almost certainly 19th century, but would make a great sort of decorator's piece. Now, the catalogue estimates £300 to £600, which I think is fairly modest, and I don't see we'll have a problem at raising that sort of level. Now, the next vase, again, certainly 19th century, a bit bigger, and it's done in the famille verte palette, rather attractive with all these peonies, large phoenix and other birds. This rain mark again is spurious. This is the Kanchi rain mark, but again 19th century, super decorative, 600 to 1,000, and we sold a few similar to it in the past, so I think probably around £1,000 is about right. Now, the most exciting and my preferred is this one, which is period, and it's from the transitional period, which is the transition from the Ming dynasty into the Qing dynasty, so from 1620 to 1683, and they call it a sleeve vase because of its shape. And this decoration is known as Wu Sai. Now, Wu Sai means 5 colours, so you have this blue, greens, yellows and reds. It's an interesting pattern. I don't know really where it originates from, some Chinese folklore, but you have all these sort of billowing red smoke, so perhaps it's some kind of a spirit. Underneath there's absolutely no rain mark at all, just this unglazed base, which is fairly typical of transitional wares. The estimate on this vase is 1,000 to 1,500. I'll be surprised if it doesn't go above that, and could maybe get up to 2,500, 3,000, something like that. All three are in excellent condition, so let's look forward to the auction and see what happens. Okay, next we're going to look at a couple of paintings. This first one, lot 511, is a watercolour by Charles Edward Dixon. Now, painting was in Charles's family. He followed in his father's footsteps, and he went on to be a Royal Academician. His favoured subject was the marine works. He did quite a few commercial pictures as well for advertisers. This one is a view at Woolwich harbour scene with the steamer Dunvegan Castle. The estimate's £1,500 to £2,500, but there is quite a bit of foxing on the paper. Hopefully that won't upset the price too much. Now, this equestrian scene is an oil painting. It's monogrammed TB or JB, and it's dated 1903. I have no idea who the artist is. The horse is named, but it's quite indistinct. It's either the Dell or the Deal, something like that. And at the time I thought, no George Stubbs, I'll put £100 to £200 estimate on it. Put the catalogue online and interest started to grow. In fact, it's one of the most watched items in the sale, so I think it's quite clear the estimate's wrong, but the question is, how wrong? So I'm joined now by my first guest or collaborator, if we're using the YouTube vernacular, Jamie Ferris, and he's worked with us now for 3 years, and Jamie and I do all the auctioneering downstairs in the antiques and collectibles sale. How long is it now that you've been selling?
Just over a year, yeah.
But we're actually here to talk about the antique and interior sale, which is what these 3 episodes are all about. Now, the prices are generally higher, the things are rarer, there's more value, so it's a bit more of an exciting sale to get your teeth into. And from this particular rostrum that we're sat at now, only 2 men have ever sold, and they've both been Batons. So Jamie Ferris is the first non-family member to come this next sale and sell from the rostrum. So how do you feel about that? Are you nervous?
Nervous but excited. Like you've said, the higher figures bring with it a little bit more responsibility, of course, but I think the interesting items, the area I've got to look at, really looking forward to selling. But how do you feel about me stepping into this sale?
Well, no, I feel really good about that because in the antique and collectible sale, at first I think I did feel like I was being encroached a little bit because I had the whole sale to myself for a long time. Dad had retired from auctioneering probably 5 years before. But on reflection, it's much better. We're stronger as two, and we can take the sale bits at a time, and it's much easier that way. But what will annoy me is if you break my personal record.
And what is that?
Well, that's over 10 years ago, and I don't like to talk about that now. We're here to talk about you. So the antique and interior sale, I think it's going to be a real good opportunity for you to break your personal record. So what? Remind me what that is from downstairs.
Downstairs, personal best, 750.
That's right, and that was for a long case clock, right?
Yeah, it was particularly a rare example, York maker. The dial had a particular increment set up, so every 15-minute increment was further broken down to 5-minute sections. You don't see that every day.
No, it's little details like that collectors pick up on and go mad for. But let's go and look at your section and see what's on there and what might break that record.
Okay, great. So this is my section from this fine art sale, and it's got a good selection of items in there. There's the African carved masks. We've got a good selection of cameras, musical instruments. Within the camera section, there's a good variety. We've got some medium format cameras, some professional cameras, a Leica lens, and some of the more interesting SLRs as well.
What's this bizarre old thing?
And this is a half-plate vintage camera, antique camera. It's a bit more unusual to the rest, and there's some weapons in this selection as well.
And we actually thought, didn't we, for a moment, that one of the weapons, the Lee Enfield rifle, was going to be the thing that was going to break your record.
Yeah, I was hoping that would be the duck breaker, let's call it.
For quite a bit of time, it had the most watches in the sale. There are even some starting bids there, but as it turns out, we had to pull it from the sale because it does have a deactivation certificate, but it's only from 1993. It's not up to current Home Office regulations, so slap wrist, we had to take it out of the sale, and we made a mistake. So, I mean, the cameras in particular, that's something you're interested in. You've selected these from house clearances. There's 3 or 4 vendors there. But which camera's in there? Is there any one in particular that you're really interested in?
Yeah, this particular one, which is closest to me, does stand out. This is the Olympus OM1. Seen a real surge now in its popularity. A real workhorse of an SLR. With some original lenses, and it's manual. I've put 150 to 250 estimate on it. I'm sure it's going to make that at least. Bit of an interesting fact though, if you find one that's marked up as M1, it's a particularly older model. The reason they had to change it is because Leica stepped in. They used the M series as their coding and made Olympus change, so they entered the OM1. So before that, you're talking 1973 or before. So this is early 70s, should do hopefully the estimate.
Oh. So, come on, put your neck on the line. Tell me a figure, exactly what it's going to make.
I'd be hoping 200, 220, or there around. I'm sure 200's a fair estimate.
Okay. So that's it for episode 2. If you want to subscribe to this channel, just click the button below. And if you did so already last week, thanks ever so much. Your support is really appreciated. To join us next week, well, we'll have a look at the auction. We'll see how we did with the prices. If you have any questions, just put them in the comments below, or if you want to wish Jamie good luck in his first auctioneering stint in the quarterly sale. Thank you.